Hello and welcome to the exciting finale of Otter Tank. You've seen two programs thus far, where two of our CWI marketing majors have tried to pitch a promotion plan to Kathy Ussery from Jack's Place. Well, now it's time for them to give their final presentations, and it's time for her and our judges to make their decisions. We had a coin flip before the show began, and Brian Rogers will go first.
I wanted to say that after the last episode, or episode 2, I was sort of thinking about how I could refine my presentation. I realized after all that really all of that I hadn't really addressed the major question as to why we're all here, which is I've given a lot of great small tidbits on what could be improved and what we could do here and here, but I wasn't really getting to the core of the question, which is that I needed to figure out what you're looking for and what I can do to make it happen. And while I can certainly say like, oh, we need to add hashtags here, we need to do this there, that really doesn't get to the core of what you're looking for, which is that you're looking for someone to refine your marketing and social media presence, but you're also looking for someone that can do it in a quick and timely manner. Because while you can use money to rather, the old saying is you can spend money to make money, you can't spend time to make time. And that's sort of where getting employees like me would actually come in handy and kind of take care of that. So I've shown in week 2 a lot of the skills that I have. I've shown that I could refine your Instagram account, and I could do things for some of your other social media presences, even on platforms you hadn't really considered as social media. But this week, I wanted to take all those lessons and sort of use them as a background or foundation to sort of prop up the idea that I do have the skills that I'm presenting, and that I'm not just saying this because, oh, well, it sounds good on a resume, right? But I wanted to kind of answer what I can do for you. Because while I'm looking at like your Twitter and your Facebook and your Instagram and basically every social media presence that you have, I've noticed that while there's a lot of very easy changes that can be made, I've also noticed that you're a very busy woman, that you have to always be thinking about what exactly you can be doing to constantly make your business run and work. But I'm sure it's very tiring, and really you want to offload that on someone that you can trust. Because when you're entrusting someone with your social media, you're basically entrusting them with your voice. And that's a very big thing, especially when you own a business, because that's basically saying, all right, for example, Brian, I am basically going to be putting words in your mouth, and you have to be able to trust me with those words. And I was thinking about how I could possibly, present that in a way that I could be, or rather you'd be able to trust me fully with that. And the answer is, well, over last week, or not really last week, but in the last episode, I noticed 2 things, which is that I kept making suggestions, which you were going in and saying that, oh, well, we are kind of doing something similar, or we have something similar on our docket, which tells me 2 things. One, that tells me that we really need to get rid of all those well-kept secrets, and we need to get them more open so people actually know that, we're offering them. Because a secret's waking up on Saturday morning with Sharpie on my cheeks. Obviously, I don't want anyone ever to find out about that. That's a lie, by the way. Don't rack that up to me. But that's a secret. But in terms of actual good business planning, we want to make sure that absolutely everyone finds that they have deals that they can get. But the second thing that tells me is that we're already kind of thinking on the same wavelength. I have a lot of people in my life who are entrepreneurs who have been in similar situations to you. And by the fact that I'm stumbling upon business plans that already exist, albeit things that I wasn't able to personally find in my research, that tells me that I'm already kind of thinking upon what you're thinking, which when I'm supposed to be saying your words, you want to be able to trust someone that can act intrinsically instead of having to come to you and kind of show every single post, every single change that I could possibly make and ask for permission first. You want to be able to trust someone to always make the right decision when they're going out and making their changes. And I think that personally, if you ask me, I would be able to be very confident in saying that you could trust me with those changes, that you could trust me with what I would be able to do for your platforms, with your marketing, with your social media. So that's sort of what all that spoke to me about. I didn't want to just go over everything that I went over in the second episode, because while I did show off all the things that I did in Canva and they're still there, obviously I know that your time is precious, and going over absolutely everything all over again would be sort of just a big, we'd basically be going over what's already been discussed. So I'm just going to assume that that's all still in the running, that hasn't gone anywhere. I did want to mention, though, that I also do more than just social media. I've actually done a few press releases. In fact, I had one that was a student program, which was to basically write up a press release for a fictional logo change for CWI. This was something that they were doing back when CWI had actually changed or considered changing its mascot. And unfortunately, Office is not agreeing with me. Otherwise, I would have shared my screen, but let's see if I can get it up. But unfortunately, it's not agreeing with me. But if you did want to see that, I'd be happy to send that to you over an email later. In terms of what I can do for you, though, I would be able to handle a lot of elements that I feel you're looking for, but don't exactly have time to really invest the proper amount of time into to make them really shine. So obviously we can discuss social media and marketing all day long, but there's a lot of other elements that I can help you with that I feel are going to be very time consuming for you. And there are things that you probably already want or have been considering investing in, but you might not have had the opportunity to currently do because you've got a very busy schedule, and it can be very difficult sometimes. So the first thing I want to mention is that I don't entirely know what your feelings are on the logo. I know that Carmen brought it up last week, or no, I keep saying last week, I mean last episode, apologies. But I wasn't entirely sure how you felt on that. If you were interested in a new logo, I do have connections. My sister has spent a great amount of time working in the marketing field here in Boise, so she knows a lot of people. And through her, I can get you access to a lot of professionals who do a lot of refinements and professional grade changes to logos and designs and all manner of things that I can personally vouch for as for their quality. The same thing can be said for photographers. I've noticed that there's a lot of things that will undoubtedly require photography. And if we're going to be taking photos, then we're going to want to have professional grade things that are going to last forever. Because yes, we can take, decent pictures with our phones. But if we're saying that, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 people are going to be looking at these, do we want to trust it with the quality that we're going to get off our phones, or do we want someone that is going to be more professional? And again, through similar channels, I can absolutely get you professional photographers that I can personally vouch for, because this will be important, especially for, I think, your main draw, which is a lot of the live events and the things that are going to be bringing people into your doorstep. Because if we can get people to see sort of the experience that you can provide through things like your live bands, then if we can present that in the best possible light through professional photography and through a refinement through your marketing social media, then I feel we're going to be presenting ourselves more as not more like upstanding, like we're somehow this really expensive restaurant in Nampa, but more so that we're refined, that we know what we're doing, that you can trust us, that you should come here, that we stand above all the rest. Because it is an unfortunate reality that whenever I drive down to the campus for CWI, I pass by at least 350 businesses, which the truth of the matter is, if I'm not looking for someone, then I'm probably not going to end up going there, where I already kind of know where I'm headed before I leave the building or before I leave my house. And we really need to make sure that you stand out in the sea of all these other businesses saying that we are the best in Nampa, that we are the best place to take you and your family, and that if you're going somewhere, go to us. Because I think that we can absolutely take your business at Jack's Place and we can really tap into your core markets by appealing to things that appeal to the family unit through things like as I mentioned in the second episode, things like discounts if they tag us on social media. Not only are their children basically giving us free marketing, but they're also going and tying themselves to this business and you're also basically giving them a discount, which for a lot of these families that are making close to $15 an hour, which is getting closer to minimum wage nowadays, a lot of people aren't overly willing to spend more on a meal that would cost them more than they make per hour. Which, if we can help get them in the door through these discounts, like student discounts, then we're going to be seeing a lot more people heading in, and we're going to be seeing a lot more marketing that's like sort of free guerrilla marketing. And then that's going to continue to build and grow your business. And I think that's personally the best thing that I can provide for you, because these are all the things that I personally feel you're looking for. You're looking for someone that knows what they're doing for marketing and for social media, that knows how to take your vision and can grow it, because that's the most important skill that I think I could possibly learn through marketing. And apologies to Dan Garrity, but it is something that you can't really get out of a textbook, or that you can't usually get out of class. It's something that is taught to you, and it's taught how you learn to look for these things. But at the end of the day, it's something that we learn by ourselves. And that's what really I think I can bring to the table for you through this project. So that's my presentation, and thank you for your time, Kathy.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much.
Hi, Kathy. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Carmen. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for giving Brian and I this opportunity to help you kind of just construct your social media on like how you envision it. I feel like it's a really good opportunity for like the both of us. I really appreciate that.
Sure.
So I'm gonna share my screen. So I kind of took a whole different take on this final episode. I kind of just like to construct on what I like said in the past episodes on what I can do. I pretty much took Dan's challenge and went along by creating a mock post of what a product may look like coming from me, including the caption. So I actually did end up going to your restaurant because I wanted to get the feel from like how pretty much how you explained it to us. So I wanted to kind of experience that myself. So I took these pictures on my phone, but I also did take photography class. So I'm pretty well aware of like how to use a digital camera, and especially the concept when it comes to taking pictures through your phone. So what I did here is I took a picture of the black burger that you have at your restaurant. And so pretty much with this, again, like how I mentioned in the previous episode, you can have all this done for you by using a program that you might potentially have to pay for. But as Brian mentioned and yourself, like you are very busy, and I feel like this would help you with your time management as well. And I'd like to present a second picture I took because I ended up inviting a CWI friend I have. So that way she also kind of knows where the place is at. And here I have the Jack Spring chicken, and this is the plate I had. And the bio I would have included is eat your greens, because that was like your headline on your menu. With our tasty Jack Spring chicken, enjoy this to your liking with shredded or crispy juicy chicken. And then I kind of just included hashtags. I put hashtag CWI and hashtag burger, hashtag eats. That way you get that traffic coming through when you see those hashtags, which I think is really important. And I feel like that's how I would promote some of your plates. That way you just get that traffic again. And as I mentioned in the previous episode as well, I had mentioned about the highlights, and this is how I probably would have designed them for your page, just because I've noticed in your logo it's green, or like I feel like that's your guys' motto color. So I feel like that is pretty cool. So that's how I would have formed it at, just so it has like a clean look. So here I kind of just had a eats highlight, Jack's friends. So with that, Jack's friends, I kind of just pictured that as like your diners that come through, like if they at you on their story, you could totally put that on there. That way you get different traffic as well. And then I did a drinks and more as well, that because I know you mentioned that you want your winery, events and like your wine products to have more attention. So I feel like that would be a good highlight to have. I also did a performance thing because I noticed when I was at your restaurant, one of your waitresses was talking about the performances and that caught my attention. So I feel like that would be a really good key highlight to have on your page. But the what like how that would look like for your highlights is pretty much I posted these on my personal social media. That way, like you also so people could see them and that get different traffic on that. So I posted this one on my Instagram and I added you guys. That way, people can click on that and like pretty much go through your social media page, which is also a good way to get traffic. And then I also did it for Facebook, and that way you have those two different platforms. And I also screenshotted this because I feel like some people don't know that the Facebook and Instagram are like intertwined. So that even helps with your time management, and you could totally just share that same picture on both platforms. That way it saves you a lot more time, which I think is cool. And then I interviewed my psych friend just because I thought it was a really cool experience for the both of us. She really enjoyed it, so I'm gonna go ahead and play the audio for you. Let me know if you can hear it. How would you describe your first time dining at Jack's Place?
As a first timer, I would describe my experience as very, very good. The waitress was very welcoming as well as the other staff. I noticed a few things that were different from many other restaurants. They had a robotic waiter, which I thought was pretty efficient, so they can also help out the waitresses take food to the tables. And I would just like to add, Kathy, the owner of the Jack's Place, you have the most charismatic staff.
What's one thing you observed about the atmosphere at Jack's Place?
One thing I observed at Jack's Place was that there wasn't not a smile in sight. I saw many other families dining there, workers that are coming from their lunch break, enjoying their time there, girlfriends getting together, and just everyone had a smile on their face. There wasn't a smile not in sight.
Describe the black dish.
So the blat was pretty much a sandwich that consisted of bacon, lettuce, avocado, and tomato that was also given a ranch spread of some sort and served on 9-grain wheat bread, as well as they give a pickle on top, which was pretty good. And it's also served with your choice of side. I ended up choosing the beer battered fries, and it was pretty good. I would get that dish again when I return to Jack's.
Yeah, so I thought I would have interviewed her just because it was a really good time for the both of us. I actually have psychology Fridays, and it's like in that same Aspen building, and it's right there. So we decided just to go after class. Yeah, so it was really good. So I appreciated that experience. But as I was there as well, like I saw some of these additives that kind of caught my attention where we sat. It's like once you enter your restaurant, like that TV screen of like events you guys have. I found that really like cool and like amusing for me. That way it brings awareness. So I really enjoyed that coming from a diner. A thing I would have wanted to add if I was like helping you out with this is when this screen came across, it said want the inside scoop. I feel like if you include your social media platforms on that, that would be really like helpful for those that come across Jack's Place. That way they are aware of like where you're located and just like the atmosphere of the restaurant. So I thought that whole TV aspect was really cool. And then I know we had mentioned DoorDash on the previous episodes, and I did take a look at that. And I would also add those to your Instagram pages and your Facebook pages. I feel like that's what I would help you on to bring awareness to those things, especially since DoorDash is like a good way to promote what your business has to offer, and you could totally reach more customers through that. So I feel like that's where I would help you on as well. And these are just a few touch points we had touched on the last episode, on like pretty much on what to do to be successful. Is just creating a calendar on the way to get yourself organized and disciplined. Set goals for yourself. I feel like that's really good for not only you, but also those that you work with, like all the waitresses, cooks even. And yeah, I just added the budget as well, just so you're aware of it. And yeah, thank you. That's my presentation. Thank you for your time.
Well, I'd like to welcome back in now Marie Baker from the Nampa Small Business Development Center, along with Kathy Ussery. Wow, that was really, really fun to watch. Kathy, you've been involved in this so heavily. Marie and I are kind of watching from the peripheries. What was this final episode like for you? Let's start with Brian. What did you think about his presentation?
It was very good. And I think that he was really wanting to convey himself as the person who would actually be doing the work, which I think, and instilling trust in that individual, because ultimately when you're hiring a marketing person, it is the person that you're hiring.
And Marie and I were kind of, the back channel chatting about this, and it was like a job interview for him. Which, Marie, did you take that as I would rather see something different there?
It was a bit different. I did appreciate his what is the why and trust, because whatever direction Kathy takes, that's what she's going to need to do when she determines that she doesn't have time to do it and she wants to set aside some dollars to hire someone. So I thought that was a good point. It did throw me off a little bit because I was expecting a plan of this is what you could do, and then your next step is execution, and then that is what it would be. So that's really what.
And he did, talk about what he had mentioned before. Yes, I'll go that. And it did sound like several times he was kind of, saying to the decision maker, you, Kathy, like, what's not to like. The other thing I really, and there's nothing not to like, I was really, really impressed too with one thing that he said, Kathy, and you kind of touched on it before. He said, when you make this choice, you're entrusting me with your voice. When he said those words, Kathy, what was going on in your head?
Yeah, that very much rings true to me, and it also, a lot of what he was saying with these would be my words that he's putting into my mouth. That really struck me, and because that's essentially what's happening. Otherwise, and like he said, unless I'm approving every single post, and that's almost the same as me doing the work.
Exactly.
So you do have to be able to trust that person and know that they're going to be your mouthpiece.
Yeah. And the other thing that people might not get from watching this, when the technology fails and you're like, oh, for Pete's sake, whatever was going on, and we didn't get to see any of the visuals. But Marie, that's not a death sentence, most assuredly. And I think he kind of came back pretty well.
Yeah, no, it's not, because as someone who just did a webinar this morning and technology failed, one thing I know about business owners, Kathy will tell you this, you learn how to pivot, you figure it out and you move on. I think the key thing that I took away from Brian is that he really did understand the essence of why and trust. And most importantly, Kathy, it's trusting someone to tell your story, because Jack's Place has a story. What is the story? And I'm going to tell it honestly and authentically. And that is what I got from that.
Marie, you mentioned telling Jack's Place's story, and Kathy, wasn't it interesting that you actually heard a customer's story from Carmen? Was that effective?
Absolutely. I was actually glad to hear that she took the time to go there and tell that story to me through the customer's own words. So that was great.
Maria, I saw a difference in Carmen's presentation, but I see her all the time. Did you notice anything from episode 1, 2 to now the final episode?
In Carmen's presentation, I
Yeah.
did actually. I think that the beauty about 1 and 2 is that both students were discovering and getting to know Kathy and really trying to figure out what she wanted. And they took feedback. And Carmen did take the feedback and then listened to Kathy and went through and developed something that she thought would work for her based on her input and what she said last time. And I thought that was really intriguing. And additionally, I do think that the video piece was genius in terms of letting Kathy know that the story she's telling matches what someone sees when they come in, because that's the authenticity I believe that Jack's Place is trying to create. And I do think that Carmen captured that based on the feedback that she got from Kathy last time.
So now, almost like picking your favorite menu item at Jack's Place, the impossible task. Well, we do need to vote. Okay, our judges have had time to consider now. Carmen and Brian, here we go with the first ever winner. We have 1 vote for Carmen Monjares, 1 vote Brian Rogers. I am happy to announce that the winner of the first ever Otter Tank at CWI, Carmen Monjares. Congratulations. Very, very proud of you. Can you tell everybody what is next for you, Carmen, after graduation from CWI?
Wow, I am shocked. So I actually plan on continuing my education at the University of Idaho. I plan on getting my marketing degree there for my bachelor's. And from there, I have so many ideas of things I want to do with my degree. Honestly, I'd like to thank Dan, really. He pretty much taught me a whole different way of learning, and I feel like he pretty much boosted up a lot of my confidence, and I really enjoyed it. Like,
I'm sure
each
glad to
class
see you believing in yourself. That is that's wonderful. It's very kind of you to say. Brian Rogers, my friend, I'm telling you, everybody is going to want to hire you as well when they see this. What's next for you, sir?
Probably trying to get into a proper job, trying to get into a career. Obviously, it's been something I've been keeping an eye on for God knows how long. Hopefully I'll be able to start getting into a more permanent position, and I'll be able to start being more independent on my life.
I think you've got all these judges anyway are betting you guys. Kathy Ussery from Jack's Place, thank you so much for all the time that you invested in this. I hope it helped you out a little bit. And Marie Baker, your insight is so valuable. And I hope we have proven something that maybe we could get a long-term relationship going with our organizations. Thank you so much for watching Otter Tank, and we appreciate your support. Good night.